morning, elementary string families. This is a video to go with the lesson schedule that was sent out in Parent Square. I just wanted to go over a couple of things about the schedule, hopefully answer any questions that you have, and really excited to start lessons on Monday. So again, you all received the Parent Square message with this document of the first trimester lesson schedule. I'm really zoomed into the schedule part because on the right-hand side are all of the lesson groups, and I didn't want student names in the video. But what you can do on your computer is find your child's lesson group letter, A through F, and then that'll kind of help make this make a little bit more sense. So once you know their letter, you can see that we have 3 different lesson times. 9:30 is the earliest. I try to make it not too early so that way they still have half an hour start in their classroom. They can eat breakfast if they have to, do any of the other morning tasks that they have in their class. So we're starting at 9:30. The last one is 11 o'clock to 11:40. These times will stay consistent throughout the whole year. I actually have a middle school class at 11:50, so after this last lesson, I'll be booking it across campus to get back for that. So these times will stay consistent throughout the year. Hopefully that doesn't bump into anyone's lunchtime or anything, and that tends to make things easier if we don't have lessons during lunch. You can also see that our lesson days for right now are days 2 and 4. You may have noticed that the district calendar doesn't have the cycle days written in. So I used my best educated guess from how days were numbered in the past. But if I did make a mistake, and we find that we get off at some point, I will redo the schedule and get it out to you. And thanks in advance for being flexible if there is a mistake. But I promise we'll make it work if we do get off on the cycle days. So we have lessons on days 2 and 4. Our first group, the day 2 students, will start on Monday, and the day 4 students will start on Wednesday. It's important that if you rented an instrument that you bring it with you that day to school. Everyone else who is borrowing from me, I have instruments ready to go to give to you to bring home. But if you rented an instrument, bring it in that day so that I can get it set up for you and you can participate in the first lesson. I'm just going to show you, for example, if you were a Group A student, your lesson is at 9:30 on Monday on day 2. The next day 2, the 13th, their lesson is at 10:15. So you can see it rotates through. Then it's the 11 o'clock lesson. And that's so that you don't miss the same part of your class every week. So you don't always miss math. You don't always miss reading. We try to rotate through that as much as we can. If your child has to miss a lesson, it's not the end of the world. That happens. There's a couple of things you can do. They are welcome to come for during another lesson time. Group A is the only lesson that's doing something different from everyone else. Group A are my students who played previously in past years, so they're going to be a little bit ahead of the other groups. But groups B, C, D, E, and F are all doing identical lessons every week. So, for example, if your child is in group C and they're absent on day 2, on day 4 they are welcome to come with any of the other groups, and we will get them caught up. The other thing is, I think I mentioned in my last video that I try to send out little lesson review videos so that if they did miss the lesson, they actually can follow along at home and kind of get a little bit of what the lesson was. And then when they come back the next week, they'll kind of have an idea. And we always do review in the lesson, so it's not the end of the world if they have to miss a lesson. A lot of students have been very successful with going through and highlighting their lesson days and times, and then either writing it in their planner or on their family calendar. That way they can remember their instruments on their lesson days. So remember, you won't need your instrument unless you rented, but you won't need to remember to bring an instrument on the first day because I have them all there for you. But after this first lesson, you're going to be responsible to have your instrument in the lesson. And I can tell you I gave out almost all of my functioning instruments at this point. So if you forget an instrument at home, I can't promise I'm going to have something for you to play in class. So we're going to work really hard to remember our instruments on lesson days. I will call up to classrooms to remind students, but if they can remember to come down, that would be even better. That way I don't have to disrupt their class, and that way they can just come down and be ready to go. So if everyone can today or over the weekend find when your child's first lesson is and mark that in their planner so that they can remember to come down, that would be really, really helpful. So if you have any other questions, feel free to send me an email, and I can't wait to get lessons started next week.